Okay, so Lord Shiva, um, yes, he's Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Now, there are first we have to understand who are these personalities. Who is Shambhu? Who is Shiva? Who is Rudra? Because technically, like when we came into Krishna consciousness, first we thought Narayana, Vishnu, everybody is same. But Narayana is different, Vishnu is different. So similarly, we also have to understand position of Shiva, Shiva Tattva. So this is Shiva Tattva. um, yeah, so pretty difficult to understand Lord Shiva. Um, but we should understand that there are three tattvas, uh, Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and then Shiva Tattva. So Shiva Tattva, Shiva has a unique position. Um, what is that unique position? He is not a Jiva and he is not Vishnu. That is why he is in between. So he's not a Jiva, meaning he doesn't have birth and death. Mm. You know, in Bhagavatam, mm, Lord Shiva says that if somebody, so if somebody lives a very pakka, mm, lives like a pakka brahmana for many lifetimes, I think 100 lifetimes, he can achieve the position of Brahma. Mm. And then Lord Shiva says, if he's even still more advanced, he can come to me. So, which means that it is higher. His position is higher than that of Brahma. But interestingly, um, to bewilder people. So, in Bhagavatam, anybody knows how he manifests himself in the material world?
Yeah.
How does he appear?
When Lord Brahma became little angry when Kumaras are not
Yeah,
ready to basically do the increase of world's population, then out of
yeah,
his eyebrow, Rudra came. Yeah.
yeah. Between the eyebrows, Rudra came. Yeah. Now then, so we have to understand who is Shiva, who is Shambhu, who is Rudra, and you heard of Veerabhadra?
Yeah.
Who is
Yes.
Veerabhadra?
I think he is another uh, portion of Lord Shiva who is
Yeah,
responsible for devastating
yeah,
when Mother Sati she was gone into fire, then
yeah,
he sent Veerbhadra to do Vidvansa of the Yagya
yeah, yeah.
Daksha.
So Veerabhadra. So there are. So first we'll understand. So let me share. I've shared this before, but still again, I'll share the Goloka chart. Okay. Yeah, and I encourage you to hear. There are three, four. It's like some 6 session seminar that His Grace Gokul Chandra Prabhu has given. He is the one who spearheaded this project on this Goloka chart. He's given a very nice uh, description about all these various aspects, and in one of the lectures, he also talks about Shiva and this part, the Mahesh Dham, as it is called. Okay, so if you see here, this is the intersection between the spiritual and material worlds. So there's Brahma Jyoti here, and below this there is Karana, ocean, right? And then there is something here which says Mahesh Dham. Okay, and this is Haridham. Mm. Haridham is Vaikunta. So, uh, from whatever I remember, if anybody finds that I'm saying something wrong, you can just correct me. So this personality here, Ishana. Mm. So actually, the material world is in this direction, not actually literally down like this. Uh, so for us, when we see up, yes, it is Vaikunta is above us, but when we see from Vaikunta's perspective, it is not below. Material world is not below Vaikunta. It's to the east, northeast. Mm, so it's to the northeast. So this is north, this is east, this is northeast, right? Uh, or northwest, I think, yeah, northwest. Depends on how we see. So this Ishana is actually Vishnu Tattva. This Ishana is Vishnu Tattva. So it is Vishnu or Narayana in Vaikunta. Mm. So apparently that Ishana, uh, he himself is who is called as Sadashiva. Um, Sadashiva. Shiva means auspicious. Sadashiva means always auspicious. Like I said, this is a very complex philosophy, so I might not be 100% accurate. So I'm just saying whatever I've heard and read. Um, so this Sadashiva, so he's always auspicious, and this is his loka, his land. This is in the spiritual world. One half of this planet is in the spiritual world. The other half is in the material world, which is called Mahakala Dhama. It is the same Sadashiva who is all auspicious, who is completely spiritual in the spiritual world. Mm, Actually, when in the other half of the planet, which is called Mahakala Dhama, he is present as Shambhu. The same Sadashiva is present as Shambhu, meaning he now manifests. He comes in touch with material prakriti, material nature, and he's called Shambhu. Now, if you see this Shambhu, so there's one Shambhu, just like there's one Karanada Kashai Vishnu, there is one Shambhu for all the material universes. Because then Karanada Kashai Vishnu enters into each and every universe as Garbhoda Kashai Vishnu, like that. So there's one Shambhu, okay? Now, the process of creation is that Karanada Kashai Vishnu, so you can see here his glance, it falls on Rama Devi, and Maya, Durga Devi is considered as the Chaya, shadow of Rama Devi. So indirectly, Karanodakashai Vishnu is his glance is falling on Maya indirectly, but it's actually falling on Rama Devi, and Rama Devi's glance falls on Maya, or it's like said because she's Parastri Maya. So he doesn't actually directly see her. So he sees Rama Devi, and through her, Maya gets initiated into action. No, so this Shambhu and Maya, just like Shambhu himself is Vishnu, but now in touch with material nature. Similarly, Maya is like a shadow of Ramadevi. Ramadevi is spiritual, right? Now they are the ones who actually have to give deha, body, to the living entities. Mm. So this whole impregnation business, which is through the vision, Lord impregnates Maya. So that is, but actual impregnation, whatever that is called, the process of impregnating is actually done by Shambhu, because this impregnation is the business of husband and wife, right? So Shambhu and Maya. So by them, by their combination, in some sense, all the living entities actually get their bodies, which is produced by Maya, just like father impregnates in the womb, and body is given by the mother. Same process, though it is said to be said to have been done by Vishnu, but actual impregnation process actually happens for that, and that is the reason why Shambhu and Maya are present. So, which is why Shambhu now comes in contact with Maya, material nature. So he is not same as Vishnu, mm, but he is actually Vishnu. But he's because uh, he's taken this mode of accepted this mode of ignorance in the material world, or he's come in touch with the material world. He's not the same as Vishnu. Shiyam yatha dadi vikara yogat. So it's like vikara, it's transformed, just like curds. Milk curds transforms into curd, like that. So he is Lord, he is Vishnu, but he is not Vishnu. Uh, so this is the setting for creating of all the material universes and filling them with jivas, with living entities and giving them bodies. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu,
Yeah.
that you mentioned that Ishana is in Vaikuntha and
Mhm.
he is only Sadashiva. So that's why Shiva, in that sense, you are saying that he is Vishnu only. But since in the uh, material world, he is taking the ownership of mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
So that's why he's also different. So it is Achintya Bheda Ved, right? Like, just wanted to understand.
Yeah. So see this one little detail. I'm not very sure whether Ishana itself himself is Sadashiva, but I remember vaguely. But we can any which way. What is accurate is to say Sadashiva is Vishnu. He's in the Vishnu Loka and he's Vishnu. He's I mean he's Narayana, one of the forms of Narayana in the spiritual world. And apparently, I believe, if I'm not wrong, that he is actually Ishana, right? Personality Ishana. Yes. So he here actually he's still, as in one way of looking at it is because he's come here and he's engaged in material activity, Shambhu and Maya. So he's actually voluntarily accepted this role, of impregnating into Maya, and so that all jivas can get uh, their bodies. Now we have not still talked about mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance comes when we enter into each and every Brahmanda. Right at this point of time, this whole creation process of jivas is being carried on between Shambhu and Maya. And that is why Shambhu is also considered linga, genital. mm. Um, and yeah, so this is the husband and wife process. Okay. Now, when we come into each and every Brahmanda, just like Karanodakashayi Vishnu enters into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu,
Hare Krishna,
enters as
Prabhu.
Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Yeah,
Uh, Prabhu, here we also call Shiva as the destructor, right?
one
Uh,
second, not it. Now that's why
okay,
I'm saying we are not coming to that.
come into
Destroyer
the. Okay,
is only within the material world.
okay. Still, he takes the role of a creator when he's Shambhu on,
Yeah,
like in
yeah,
Maya.
yeah. Which is why
Mhm.
I'm saying, which is why it's very bewildering because he's
Okay,
not taking the role of creator. He's taking the role of giving Jiva's body
body. Okay,
that way. Yeah, but
okay,
in the material world, just like Karanodakashayi Vishnu enters into each and every Brahmanda as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Now, an Amsha of Shambhu appears from Brahma, right? During the course of creation, as Rudra, right? So he's an Amsha of Shambhu, and so he is present in each and every universe as Rudra, and that is the mode of ignorance. He has accepted the mode of ignorance for destruction. Right now, Rudra actually means one who cries, I think. Yeah, because he cried very loudly, he was called Rudra. As soon as this child is born, is combined blue and red color, which is ignorance and passion. Um, so when he appears, then he's like very badly he starts crying. So then Brahma says, okay, because you're crying like this, I'm calling you Rudra. Mm, so very cranky. Mm. And then initially Rudra starts creating. So Brahma says, okay, create. Then he starts creating ghostly entities who actually are in the mode of ignorance. So they come to destroy Brahma himself. So then Brahma tells Rudra saying, no, no, this is not the time for you. You now go into, you do austerity, tapasya. When the time comes, we'll call you. You can do your destroying business. Hmm. Okay, so now, yeah, so this is one aspect. This is one aspect. Um, Now the other aspect is about uh, from a spiritual perspective. Um, so Shiva, he is always his Aradhya Daiva is Sankarshana, or actually he is in the material realm, or actually wherever he is, I shouldn't say material realm. So he is always meditating on Sankarshana. Mm. Now here also we know that this is Mahesha Dhama. Actually, this is the original Dhama of Mahesha, or Shiva. But then when he enters into each and every Brahmanda again, he stays in the Swarga, right, in Kailash. Yes, so now we should also understand one more thing, saying that when you say Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, now this is from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Now, if you say Vaishnavana Yatha Shambhu, but then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, who are the topmost devotees of Krishna?
Gopis.
Yeah, so then why Shiva is also considered, Shiva is also given this position. So, in some sense, we should understand that he is the greatest Vaishnava within material realm, meaning amongst those who are in touch with material world, because the gopis are never they are nitya siddhas, they never come in touch with the material world. So within the material world, he is the greatest Vaishnava. Mm. So and hence anybody who is in this material world has to follow in his footsteps, and to become a Vaishnava like him. Actually, just Prabhupada's quotes on Shivaratri. So he says he's the ideal husband. So Prabhupada, actually, let me read that. It's a very nice quote, especially for both Prabhus and Matajis. Where is that? Today in Hindu society, so it says Lord Shiva, the ideal husband. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is the ideal husband, not in the sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Shambhu or Lord Shiva is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Rama. So this is Sankarsana. Constantly meditates upon Lord Rama and chants Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is called Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Shiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good a Vaishnava as he is. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband. The wife must be dependent on the husband. Hmm. And if the husband is a Vaishnava, husband has to be qualified, must be a Vaishnava. Then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service, and she gets the benefit of that 50%. She gets benefit of the spiritual progress of the husband. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. Mm. Uh, okay. Mm. One second. Okay, so yeah, so he's always chanting Rama's name, which is why in Kashi, when somebody gives up their body in Kashi, they are said to they it said that they'll get moksha because Lord Shiva personally chants the name of Rama in their ears. So antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So ante narayana smriti. So this is made possible by the mercy of Lord Shiva. The people who actually are fortunate enough to die in Kashi, they can achieve the spiritual world. Um, yeah, so Lord Shiva, um, he does a lot of tasks for Vishnu, which are impossible for others to carry out within the material world. Right, so this conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati, um, about how he comes as Sri Shankaracharya, to bewilder the atheists. So it was an impossible task for anybody else to do, but and so actually Vishnu sends request Shiva to go and do this service. Also, he has exalted Shiva has exalted qualities. Of course, there are a lot of material qualities, material qualities in the sense qualities which are displayed within the material realm. In the sense, yeah, like Ashutosha, he's called Ashutosha because he is very easily pleased. Then we know the situation with Vrikasura, how he gave he gave the benediction that Vrikasura wanted whoever he touches, the head of that person should explode, should burst. So, and Vrikasura was a demon. He wanted to enjoy Parvati. So he wanted to destroy Shiva himself. Then Shiva then has to run for his own protection, and then Vishnu comes and mm, rescues him in the form of a Brahmana, small young Vatu Brahmana boy. Mm. So like that, he's Ashutosha. Mm. But yeah, like Prabhu said, one of the mm, most important qualities of Lord Shiva is he's always in ecstasy, chanting the names of Krishna. Right. So in again in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, hmm, Gopakumara actually goes to Mahesh Dham, outside Devi Dham. Then he goes to Mahesh Dham, and then he sees like Lord Shiva is actually dancing in ecstasy, and he thinks that okay, Lord. Actually, general knowledge is that Lord Shiva dances only when there is pralaya, right? Tandava Nritya. So then Gopakumara is bewildered, saying that what's going on? Why is he dancing? Yeah, then yeah, of course, then he sees then there is Parvati and Ganesha, Kartikeya, everybody. They're chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Lord Shiva is dancing in ecstasy. Hmm. So in Bhagavatam, fourth canto, there is Rudra Geet, which is actually the song sung by Lord Shiva to the Prachetas. So the Prachetas, they their father asked them to beget children, Prashinabari. So then because it was Satyuga, they decide to do austerities for 10,000 years before they take up the role of producing children, progeny. So then they're going. to, do austerities, then they happen to fortunate enough to meet Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva actually gives them their process for austerity, which is the Rudra Git. It's actually very beautiful glorification of the Supreme Lord, uh, wherein Lord Shiva actually clearly mm, uh, explains the position of Vishnu or Krishna and his own position. So it's good to read this. It's in the fourth canto. Which chapter? Mm, yeah, 24. Chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. So it's a very very nice chapter. So if you have time today, you can go through this. And yeah, in that we read some excerpts from that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you are sharing the screen.
No,
We are
I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. I'm reading some other text that I have. Mm. Yeah, Lord Shiva recited the prayer as follows. So these are just like you can take as translations of various verses in this. O Supreme Person of Godhead, all glories unto you, for you are the Supreme Living Being, the Supreme Soul, and thus you are worshipable by all. So Lord Shiva is saying, so he's glorifying the Supreme Person of Godhead and saying, you are worshipable by all, means including himself. Mm. You are the origin of the subtle material ingredients from which this creation has become manifest. And you are the all pervading Lord Vasudeva, who expands himself as Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Your inclination, disinclination, and their resultant activities. And you are the topmost of all those who bestow benedictions. Look at this. This is a beautiful part of this prayer. My dear Lord, I wish to see you in your original form, which is very dear to the devotees, for only by visualizing that form can all the demands of the senses become perfectly satisfied. So he's desiring to see the original form of the Lord. And now he describes what is that original form. The Lord's complexion resembles a dark cloud during the monsoon season. Hmm. And just as the rainfall glistens, his bodily features appear to sparkle. The Lord's exquisitely lovely face is adorned with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, and an enchanting smile that captivates the mind of the beholder. The Lord's black hair is curly, and the super excellent beauty of his face becomes enhanced by his sidelong glances. The Lord's garments, which wave in the wind, as well as his glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle belts, the sash around his waist, and other bodily ornaments combine to increase his natural beauty. The Lord's shoulders are broad like a lion's, and upon his chest hangs the Kaustubha Mani. The glittering curls of golden hair upon the Lord's chest, called Sri Vatsa, excels the beauty of the golden streaks that are found on the black stone used for testing gold. The Lord's abdomen is very beautiful due to its three ripples of flesh, and because it is so round, it resembles the leaf of a banyan tree. When he inhales and exhales, the movement of those ripples appears fascinatingly beautiful. The folds within the Lord's navel are so deep that it seems as if the entire universe had sprouted out of it and also wishes to return there. The Lord's hips are covered by a sash that is decorated with golden embroidery. His symmetrical lotus feet, calves, thighs, and knees are also extremely beautiful, and thus his entire body appears to be very well built. My dear Lord, your two lotus feet are like two blossoming lotus petals, and the nails of your lotus feet emanate such a great effulgence that the darkness within the heart of your devotee immediately becomes dissipated by meditating upon them. So, anytime we are stuck in ignorance, We should just simply meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord. So as Vaishnavana Metha Shambhu, he's teaching us because he's constantly in touch with Maya, but he's free from her. For this reason, those who desire to purify their existence must always meditate upon your lotus feet while engaging in the process of bhakti yoga. Only by the execution of pure devotional service do you become satisfied. Considering this, who would take to any other process of self realization if he is actually serious about achieving the perfection of life? Simply by the expansion of his eyebrows, invincible time can vanquish the entire universe. However, formidable time does not approach the devotee who has taken complete shelter of your lotus feet. Even a fraction of a moment's association with a pure devotee can award blessings that cannot be compared to heavenly elevation or even liberation. And thus, I beg your lordship to benedict me with such association. My dear lord, your absolute authority cannot be directly experienced, but one can guess of it by seeing how everything in this world is being destroyed in due course of time. And that destruction he only does. As the wind, of course, this is talking about destruction by time. As the wind invisibly scatters clouds in the sky, so time imperceptibly scatters everything, and thus one can indirectly feel the presence of your hands. Everyone in this material world is mad after making plans due to uncontrollable greed. However, your lordship is always alert, and in due course of time, you strike one down, just as a snake seizes a mouse and very easily swallows him. For this reason, a learned man is one who knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled. Lord Shiva then instructs Pracheta, my dear princess, you should chant this prayer while fixing your minds upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Being situated within your hearts, the Lord will soon become very pleased with you if you faithfully follow this process. This prayer was first spoken by Lord Brahma to us, the Prajapatis, when we are ordered by him to create progeny. By chanting this prayer in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we become completely free from all kinds of ignorance. Any devotee of the Lord who chants this prayer with great attention and reverence, with mind absorbed in him, will achieve the greatest perfection of life without delay. And this is an instruction, this is also a benediction, this is also Lord Shiva blessing all of us do this. Then they will achieve perfection without delay. Right after receiving instructions from Lord Shiva, the Prachetas worshipped him with great respect and devotion. Then, after Lord Shiva's departure, the princes entered the water, and while standing there for 10,000 years, they regularly recited the prayer that had been given. Hmm. So, elsewhere also in Bhagavatam, it said that Lord Shiva is the protector of Vaishnavas. Lord Shiva is also Kshetra Pal. He is also the protector of all the mm, confidential dhamas of the Lord, abodes of the Lord. He is Kshetra Pal, meaning he doesn't let any unqualified person to enter the dham. So like this, he's constantly in direct service, direct devotional service, right? So not only is he taking care of this material, mode of ignorance, but also he is also engaged in doing direct service to Krishna. Uh, so you can see that while he is considered as the biggest yogi, most powerful, like people are so bewildered about Kailas. Nobody can touch Kailas, nobody can climb Kailas because Lord Shiva is residing, and so he's like the mystic, the most powerful mystic, right? But actually we don't see him like that. um, right, so we don't see him like that. We see him as the greatest devotee. So much, see, just those prayers, and in that whole prayer there's, yeah, there is description about the supreme position of the Lord, but most of it is the love of the devotee in connection with the Lord, glorifying his beautiful form, his beautiful qualities, his devotees, all this, which is devotion. It is not like Prabhupada some places says godless display of power. It's not about how powerful he is, how he can swallow the poison, how he became Nilakanta. These are all not great. I mean, it's great, but it's okay. I mean, Lord Shiva himself won't be too happy, with. discussing these qualities, but he will be more happy to discussing glories of the Lord, glories of devotion, and so on. So we should understand that is why he is the greatest Vaishnava. And we should, he though he has a duty, responsibility of being the Guna Avatara, right? But still, he's engaged in devotional service. And like Prabhupada said, he's the ideal husband. So there are so many things. There's just unlimited. Um, he's unlimited. Um, so we should pray on this day that we can. And he's very very fixed. He's very fixed. He's not affected by Maya. So these qualities actually we badly need. His mercy. So we should beg for his mercy on this day and mm, pray that we can also become follow in his footsteps and become a qualified Vaishnava, who is so dearly loved by the Supreme Lord. The Lord loves Lord Shiva so much, so that whenever Lord Shiva is in trouble, he himself comes and rescues him. Mm, more than once. It's described in Bhagavatam. So we should also develop this mood of love to the Supreme Lord. And because Shiva is also he is the protector of Vaishnavas, and he's very easily pleased. So we should pray to him on this day. Mm. But of course, on a practical perspective, we don't necessarily celebrate this Shivaratri, and the only reason is because without understanding the spiritual personality of Lord Shiva, maybe most ignorant people who come in touch with ISKCON will also start worshipping Shiva and think that okay, ISKCON is also like any other temple. No, so many temples are doing Shivaratri. So from that perspective, Prabhupada asked us not to, celebrate Shivaratri, but of course we can celebrate Shivaratri by remaining awake whole night and discussing the glories of Lord Shiva and devotional service, and that would please Lord Shiva, right? But yeah, we don't have to go to any normal temple because they will not worship Shiva in the right mood, and they are thinking that Shiva is the Maheshwara, right? He is the supreme Ishvara, he is everything. So much of uh, philosophical misunderstanding. So we don't go there because, and of course, because whoever worships goes to Shiva, they worship him only for some material benefit. So, and then the prasada is also that way contaminated, etc. So we don't need to do that, but we can just be in this consciousness, in this prayerful mood, and beg for mercy. And he is very, very dear to devotees. So he will fulfill our desires. So yeah, so those are few things. I mean, like I said, it's just so much, so much information is there about Lord Shiva. But this is a little bit whatever I know I've shared. Anything else anybody wants to share, you can feel free.
Right. So we can also just wanted to add one comment that we can also learn that he's a perfect Vaishnava Grahastha family, like Mother Parvati, his children,
Yeah.
himself. So I think for Grahasthas, we can learn from Lord Shiva that how to lead a Krishna conscious life. I think.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, I mean his austerities, it's practically impossible, right? Like, yeah, mm, master of the material opulence, but he's not interested in any of that. So his focus is always on devotion. Yeah, and yes, whole family is super Krishna conscious. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, then we can stop here for today. Mm. Mm. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu Shri Bhagavan Lord Shiva ki Jai. And he's also called Bhagavan because he's so powerful. But yeah, of course, he knows that he's not Bhagavan Vishnu. Yeah. So we can conclude here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.